lights on without the ignition. Lights only on when the ignition is on. For the Gladiator mod, Voswitch, on with ignition or on without ignition, you're gonna have to get a three-way switch on. It's on one way, on the other. Attach 3 wires to it. Notice the yellow is in the middle. So the yellow one is gonna have this type of plug, which is the little spade that comes off of the board in the Voswitch controller. Then one of the sides of the switch is going to have this for the constant power, which is also inside the Voswitch. It's available inside the Voswitch controller. And this one will have the spade, the flat, or whatever you want to call this, that's going to replace, that's going to be taken, this is going to be like the one you take out of the board, goes in here. So you're going to take this one like this on the board already. You're going to pull that out, put it on here. That's your ignition power. You have ignition power on one side of the switch, constant power on the other side of the switch, and this goes to the control board. So you're tricking the system into thinking it has ignition power with this one, or it actually has ignition power with this one. The Voswitch controller has a red wire right here that goes into your fuse block to see, so it can tell it when the ignition is on if you put it in the ignition fuse in there, like just lighter plug or something like that. And it comes into this little plug right here. That right here is where this one used to go to. But now it goes to my switch. That's the one that comes from the ignition and goes to my switch, which is right here, to one side of the switch. Then the middle of the switch is gonna go where that one came out of, on the board, right there. And then the other side of the switch, the far side of the switch, is gonna go on this, which is constant power. So when you say just change the switch, it either feeds the board constant power or your ignition power. So the switch is right here and you can just change it as you wish, ignition, constant. And that's basically all. This is something else I have in here, feeding off the constant power. And I have a few little mods in here, but that's the only thing. And it's different in colors, but it's the same thing. So this one's easier to see. One's gonna be constant, one's gonna be ignition, and this one feeds the board right there. Oh, my micro switches, I think they're both up. Both up, meaning I have voltage. When it's low, it shuts off the lights, so I can still crank the Jeep. And the next one is for ignition, so it thinks it's gonna work off of the ignition every time, but we're tricking it with the switch to do whatever we want. Instead of going in here and moving that micro switch every time, that's what we're doing with the switch. That little micro switch is not meant to be switched all the time, and it might break and it's hard to get to. So I just did an external switch.